All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a massive topic, one that's honestly pretty critical for our planet, the loss of biodiversity. And we're going to see how some really random things, like a rhino's horn and even a weight loss pill, are all connected to this huge global crisis. Now, I know that sounds like a bit of a riddle, right? A rhino horn, medicine, a supplement, what's the link? Well, the answer connects all three of them to this massive, beautiful, and honestly threatened web of life we have here on Earth. So stick with me, because we are about to connect all those dots. Okay, so what are we actually talking about when we use this word biodiversity? It's more than just a list of different animals and plants. Think of it like a massive, super intricate library of life that's been built up over billions of years. It's the very thing that makes our planet work. And this really matters. Think about it this way. Biodiversity isn't some nice-to-have luxury. Nope, it is our planet's actual life support system. I'm talking about the very things that give us fresh water and clean air, the things that stabilize our climate and create healthy soil for our food. It is literally the foundation that everything else is built on. But here's the thing. This incredible variety, it's under some serious threat. And the really hard truth, the main reason for this decline is us. It's our actions, what we buy, and how we use the land. So let's start with something we all need, food. Think about how we farm. First, you've got monoculture. That's when you plant these giant fields with just one single crop. Yeah, it's efficient, but it also sucks all the nutrients out of the soil and basically rolls out a welcome mat for pests. Then there's overgrazing, where too many animals just strip the land bare, which leads to erosion. Both of these things take a complex, lively habitat and just simplify it, making it super fragile. And it's not just farming. We're also just paving over paradise. As our cities get bigger, we clear out huge areas of natural land for things like golf courses, mining operations, you name it. We're destroying habitats for good. And remember, when we do that, we're not just getting rid of trees and plants. We are literally evicting wildlife that has absolutely nowhere else to go. Okay, so besides losing their homes, some animals face a more direct threat: poaching. And I want you to just focus on this number for a second. 3. On average, 3 rhinos are poached every single day in South Africa alone. That's just staggering. That kind of relentless pressure is pushing this incredible species right to the very edge of extinction. So why is this happening? You look at rhinos. They're being killed for their horns, which, get this, are made of keratin, the exact same stuff as our fingernails. And it's all based on these old myths that they have healing powers. Elephants are targeted for their ivory tusks, which just get turned into jewelry and ornaments. And even in the ocean, things like abalone are being harvested so fast because they're considered a delicacy that they can't recover. It's all part of this massive illegal trade that just doesn't care about the devastating cost. The threat isn't always as obvious as poaching. Sometimes it's a quiet invasion. I'm talking about invasive alien plants. These are plants that get brought in from other places, and without their natural enemies, they just take over. They spread like crazy, hogging all the water, sunlight, and space. They completely unravel the local ecosystem, basically choking out the native species. Wow. Okay, that's all pretty bleak, I know. But here's the good news. The story does not end there. There is absolutely hope. All around the world, people are fighting back, and they're using some really smart solutions to protect biodiversity. So, how do we deal with those alien plant invaders we were just talking about? Well, there are basically 3 main tools in the toolbox. First, there's mechanical control. That's the hands-on approach, literally chopping them down or pulling them out. Then you have chemical control, using herbicides. This works, but it can be risky for other plants and animals. And then there's the really clever one, biological control. This is where scientists find a natural enemy of the invader, say a specific bug that only eats that one plant, and introduce it to keep things in balance. Now, the big idea that ties all of these efforts together is something called sustainable use. And really, it's a pretty simple but super powerful idea. It just means we manage and use our natural resources in a way that makes sure they'll still be around for future generations. We can use them, but we can't use them up. Simple as that. And this whole idea of sustainable use brings us right back to where we started. Remember that question about medicine and supplements? See, South Africa's native plants are like these little natural treasures. They have incredible value, both economically and for medicine. But that also puts them at huge risk. Let's look at a case study, a plant called Hoodia gordonii. For generations, the Khoisan people have used this succulent to suppress appetite.
Then, suddenly, the rest of the world found out, and it just exploded as a global slimming agent. What happened next? Massive overharvesting, which threatened the plant itself. And it also brought up this really important issue of the Khoisan people's rights to benefit from their own traditional knowledge.
And you see this same pattern with other plants too. Take devil's claw. It's used as an anti-inflammatory, and it got so popular that it's now a protected plant that has to be farmed sustainably. Or even something we all know, rooibos tea. It's loved all over the world, but the plantations are now starting to encroach on the really rare fynbos ecosystem. So, where does all this leave us? Well, we're basically at a crossroads. The choices we make every single day, what we choose to buy, the companies we support, they all have a real impact. Our choices can either keep fueling this problem, or they can be part of the solution. When you boil it all down, it really comes back to this. Every sustainable choice we make, it's like casting a vote. It's a vote for a future where we can thrive, and so can the millions of other species we share the planet with. And that really leaves us with the big, challenging question, doesn't it? How do we balance our own needs with the needs of all the other life on Earth? Look, there are no easy answers here, but just thinking about it, talking about it, and then acting on it, that's the most important work any of us can do. It's something to really chew on. Hey, if this explainer helped you get your head around this big topic, do me a favor and hit that like button, and maybe share it with a friend. And of course, make sure you're subscribed. For more great content like this, go follow Mr. Chi on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. You won't regret it. Thanks for tuning in.